Hi, everybody, and welcome to our fifth week live stream. It's also our last live stream that we have for our 5-week class that we have together. This is for my 5601 class that's in its last week. Just to make sure, I do have 3 sections of classes going on right now over the summer, so I just want to make sure you're in the right one, the 56091 course that is in week 5. But can everyone hear me and see me okay before I jump in, just to make sure that everything's coming through loud and clear? Feels good on my end, but just making sure. Right. I'll give it just a moment here. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much for letting me know. Oh, I think I might have a cat. Look at this is Squash, right? This one almost never comes near me. She's friendly, but not always, right? So I had to grab her while I could. That's Squash, or Squash Carrots is her full name, right? But again, thank you for letting me know. I'm glad it's coming through loud and clear. I want to go through just a couple of quick pieces from last week, and then we'll talk about what we have this week, right? So everyone says hi, Squash. She's giving me this look like, don't you dare come near me again, or we're done. So I will leave her be. But anyway, let's head over to Canvas together and take a look at what we have going on. We are right here, week number 5. And our class officially ends Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to put that here in the chat. Please remember that our class officially ends Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so kind of like a normal week in that sense. Make sure that everything from this week is turned in and completed by Sunday night. Our class officially ends, so final grades are due relatively quickly afterward. And as always, I do have that late policy of you have to reach out to me before the deadline if you want any consideration of an extension. But please be really mindful of that this week, knowing that the class does end on Sunday night. So just a couple of quick notes from last week, kind of like I've been seeing all semester, or all 4 weeks from all of you. Really great job last week. A lot of you getting full points, or very close to, on discussion 7 and 8. The scores on exam number 4 were also really, really good. A lot of you did the extra credit. So I'm seeing some wonderful things. Keep doing the same stuff for one more week. We're really close to the end here, and hopefully that means you can enjoy the rest of your summer. But this week, what we have is we have just a couple of assignments, right? So we have kind of a different week. This class had a little bit different timing than I normally have. Normally I have 4-week or 8-week classes. So rather than building these into week 4, on the plus side, we kind of got to have this extra week where we could incorporate them. So this week, what you're doing is you're utilizing that other book that you purchased with the Psyched book, which is the self-care and mindfulness book. So you're doing an assignment related to that, and then you have a closing assignment, a little class survey, and of course the extra credit that I'm going to give you tonight for one last opportunity at some bonus points. So let's go through these 2 assignments together. And if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. So the first we'll look at is the self-care and mindfulness assignment. And with this one, you are submitting it right here through the link. It's worth 25 points and due by this Sunday night. When you're ready, you'll click Start Assignment right here, and that will allow you to submit it. So for this one, you are reading that self-care book that you purchased a few weeks ago, but haven't really spent any time with, except for maybe last week a little bit with the discussion. But you're looking at this book, and you're going to be reading through it, answering some questions, and filling out a couple of inventories. So there are basically 10 questions that you'll be doing. You can type these directly in. You can upload a document. For a couple of them, I'm asking you to complete some inventories and worksheets. A couple of you asked, what's the best way of doing that? You can write that out. You can type that out. Some people will print that page and write it directly on there and then upload a picture of it. However you want to get that to me is fine, but do make sure that you answer all 10 questions to get that credit, right? So you're going to be looking at a few different things from the book related to self-care and mindfulness, along with some inventories, creating an emergency self-care plan, some barriers, doing some mindfulness activities, hopefully something that will be a little bit helpful. I wrote this in the book, but such a funny thing to me. If you had told me a few years ago that I was going to write a book about self-care, I would have straight up laughed at you. But I really do see the benefits of it now, and I'm hoping that I can share a little bit of that with you with the book and with this assignment. So when you're ready to submit that, you'll just click right here on Start Assignment. This is worth 25 points, so it's more than a discussion. Definitely take some time on it, and I hope that you're able to find some things that are enjoyable for you at the same time. The other assignment that you have due this week is a closing assignment. And instead of giving you a cumulative final, which I've always thought are the worst, I don't give them in any of my classes. What you'll be doing is this closing assignment. And this is also worth 25 points. And for this assignment, let's take a look at the instructions. You're reflecting back on all of the things that you've learned about in our time together in these last 4 weeks. And you're going to pick 5 specific ways that the content from this class can apply to your life. So what you'll be doing is you'll pick a specific term or concept that we covered, and then you'll follow this format right here. And I do have a sample that I'll show you in a moment, but you'll list the term. You can copy the definition from the lecture or textbook. It can totally be copied over. That's completely fine. The big part of your grade is this last part, the application. How can you take this term or concept and use it in a real life situation? How could you apply it to your life in some way? How could you use it in some way in your life? And rather than writing like a traditional paper, you're just going to have 5 of these, 5 term, definition, application. It should be roughly 2 pages or so, standard font and margins. And I have a little rubric here for how I'm grading it, but it's worth 25 points, basically 5 points for each of the 5 examples that you pick. So what I want you to do, if you go back 1 page here, so you can see the instructions that we just looked at. Here are the instructions, but there's a little sample submission. So let me open that for you really quick. And again, more than like a traditional like normal paper with transitions and so on, you're following this format. So here's 1 and then here's 2, right? So you're giving me a term, a definition, and then application, and doing that 5 separate times. And you can choose any term or concept that we've covered in our time together. I did put together a list for you just to help. It doesn't necessarily have to be on here, but here are all the big things that we have covered together. It doesn't look like that much here, right? But we have gone over a lot. So these are arranged by chapter, and I put some of the big concepts. It can be any term or concept, though, that we covered in our last 4 weeks. So you'll be turning that in here, right here through this week, right where it says instructions. You'll be turning in that self-care and mindfulness assignment as well. The other thing that you do have is this little anonymous closing class survey. It's not worth any points. You don't have to do it, but if you have any feedback, positive or negative or even neutral, feel free to share it with me. It is completely anonymous, so I will have no idea who said what. It won't come back to you in any way, but if you have anything that you really liked or didn't like that you would like to share anonymously, here's your opportunity to do so. I will of course post this recording a little bit later tonight after it's uploaded and downloaded. I have a couple of last reminders for you. I typed this up earlier, but one last time, if you have fallen off your subscription status or you still haven't done it, I really appreciate those of you who did it. This class saved me so much time, and it obviously benefits those of you watching this later as a recording. You can still do that extra credit. One more time, please remember, as I already put in the chat, that our class officially ends this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So make sure that everything is in before that deadline. One other thing that I would remind you to do, and I think this is a really good practice in any class, but as you near the end, double check all of your grades. Just take a quick moment, check on Canvas, is everything there, right? Are you missing a score for something you turned in? Is something wrong, right? Just make a quick check of your grades and obviously let me know if anything is incorrect. It's really easy to fix it now while we're still meeting. Once the class ends, it's really quite complicated once formal or final grades have been submitted. So just if anything is off, let me know. It shouldn't be, but you never know. I once put in 39 instead of 93. Like, it happens, right? We're human, I'm human. So if you notice anything wrong, let me know. But other than that, let me give you the last extra credit question and show you where to answer it. Really kind of a general question, but I thought it might be nice if you're comfortable sharing. So this is the week number 5 Twitch extra credit question. What is one thing that you liked about this class and one thing you would change if given the chance? Explain. So what's one thing that you really liked about this class and one thing that you might change if given the chance, and explain. And it doesn't have to be super specific, but please feel free to share. Again, you will get points for regardless of what you say. But I'm always trying to make this better. So if you have any suggestions, that'd be great. You'll click right here where it says optional Twitch extra credit number 5. And then up at the top, click on start assignment. And then in the box, you can type your response. Oops, I can't spell. Type your response, and when you're ready, hit submit. Okay, and again, you get your confetti and little trophies. Very, very nice. Been watching soccer all day. I was just watching the Italy and Argentina, the club games, right? And so maybe think of that with the trophies. But that is kind of the last stuff for the class. Everything else is done, just the self-care and mindfulness, closing assignment, that closing survey, and the extra credit if you would like. So I'd like to thank you all for a wonderful kind of short class. These summer ones go so fast. And, if you really like the intro psych, you really like psychology, you could always join me in person for abnormal psych or human sexuality. I also teach research methods online in a kind of a similar format as well. But I didn't write the book for that one. But I do have another class that's online like that one, or a couple in person if you want more in the field of psychology. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your summer. Enjoy your time. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will hang out for a few minutes if you do have any questions for me. Again, kind of short and sweet as we hit this last week of our class. But thank you all for joining me or watching this later. I hope you all have a great night and a great week. And again, I hope I see some of you in a class in the future. It's always nice to eventually put a name and face together. So thank you all so much. I'm going to hang around for a little bit, but I'm going to close my video so I'm not staring at myself. But thank you all so much. Have a wonderful week. I'm going to put that here in the chat as well. Have a wonderful week, and I hope you all have a great rest of your summer. Thank you as well. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. You as well. You as well. Yes, so the 4 to 5 pages should include like the inventories, right? And those could be a full page if you want. A lot of the questions are actually kind of brief. I didn't want to make it like too incredibly long, but if you pull this up, right, like the 5 categories is really short. This one's really short. And then the inventory will probably be a page. These will be a page. Yeah, so like roughly 4 to 5 pages. You're welcome to go over. I will never take off points for going over, but definitely don't be under that. It should be like a good solid like 4 to 5 pages at least. Thank you as well.